Hello, boys and girls. So here it is, the long anticipated, forever promised update video. I appreciate you being patient, and I actually really appreciate the interest. It was surprising to me that so many of you folks would be checking in on me and posting comments in my comment section. Some of you being repeat customers that have continued to post and express an interest in checking in with me and knowing how I'm doing and getting an update from me on my condition. I really appreciate that. Unfortunately, at this point in time, today, I wish I could, but cannot tell you that I am free of my opiate addiction. Since the posting of my video tips for dealing with opiate withdrawal, my addiction has only gotten worse. I've been through several subsequent unwanted detoxes since then, none of them lasting more than 5 days. These come about when I run out of or have no means of acquiring more medication, and I'm forced to go a number of days without my opiates. And I'm forced to use those tips, which I laid out for you people in those videos, which just because I'm still in my addiction doesn't mean that I did not provide you with some good information. Those are my tried and true methods that were developed over years for dealing with this really desperate situation that is opiate addiction and opiate withdrawal. I heard somebody explain it recently, and it just kind of hit the mark for me. It was like hitting the nail right on the head, and he said that the way he explains opiate addiction to people who have never experienced it, he says it's like being burnt alive. And all of a sudden that just clicked for me. I've often searched for ways of explaining it to other people, and that's the closest I think that I've ever heard anyone come. It's like you can try to explain all the sensations that you feel, but being burnt alive, I think, is the most concise way I've ever heard it explained. And I know for me that's hits really close to home. So today I want to talk about a couple things. I'm not going to go into any more about the opiates that I'm on or the opiates that I was addicted to or how I got into my addiction. I believe I spoke about that in my previous videos, and you can look for those, I'm sure, down here or down here somewhere, or maybe up here. And you can find that information. Also, the tips contained in the tips for dealing with opiate withdrawal video, there's some good stuff in there. I'm telling you, the Lyrica, supplementing with magnesium and potassium. Again, I'm not going to go into that, but that's all good stuff, and I promise you that can help you. I wish that I would have gotten out of my addiction in the first 10 times that I tried to detox, because I can tell you, it just gets worse every time. And if I had a window, a little window into the future, and I could see where I would be today, with the methods I described, it was bearable back then. Now in hindsight, looking at it, it was bearable, especially with the methods I described, to get out of it. Where I'm at now, my addiction is so bad that it just goes on and on and on and on. I want to talk a little bit about the ways that we deal with addiction currently in America. The 12-step programs. Currently, the best thing they can offer you is potentially, a number of things. Methadone maintenance and weaning off of methadone. That's not for me. Through research, I've realized that's not for me. People get addicted to methadone, and it's harder to come off of than short-acting opioids. And you do your research before you let someone put you on methadone, and you see how satisfied people are with their methadone treatment. Most people who get on methadone don't get off of it. I also tried Suboxone and did about an 8-month stint on that. And basically Suboxone is the same thing as methadone. Chemically it's not the same, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I found is I was getting just as addicted to the Suboxone as I was to any other opiate, and that can be way harder to come off of than the short-acting opiates because it stays in your system for so long. The withdrawals are protracted and last forever. And so after learning that, after being on it for a number of months, I stopped using that and went back to my regular short-acting opiates. Another way is just to go to a detox center and do their standard detox protocol, and those can vary wildly in their approach and methods. And then after you get actually physically detoxed from the drugs, they would recommend intensive psychotherapy. This method would be something like you see on maybe Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, where you have counseling and this sort of thing. But if you follow that down the line a ways, basically what happens with these people, and I know especially with opiate addicts, for me, what I would be looking at is doing the detox, which they may be able to make me, it may not be the end of the world, I'm sure I would suffer terribly. But even after the initial acute withdrawal is over with, someone like me, who's been on high doses of strong opiates for many years, is going to face an intense post-acute withdrawal syndrome, often called PAUS, which could last for many months to years, which is basically your brain chemistry still isn't right, and the process of your brain chemistry being leveled back out to a pre-addiction state could take a very long time, and that's usually what gets most people. And for that, they recommend that you go to groups and talk to people about it, and that's supposed to make you better. Come on. Anyhow, I can just see how that wouldn't work for me. 9 months down the road, pressures of life, stress, physically being required to do things for your job, and you still feel horrible. Eventually, the opiates start calling you again just because you want to feel normal. Not even because you have any desire to get high, but because you want to feel normal. So I came across something else. I knew there had to be a different way out there. And what I came across was, and some of you might know what I'm going to say next, and that is IBOGAINE, or any extract or formulation of that iboga root, which comes from Africa and has been used by the Bwiti people of Africa in coming-of-age ceremonies. It's a psychedelic type of a substance. It has a psychedelic effect. It's used for spiritual journeys as a sacrament, and I'm not going to go heavily into that because you can research that for yourself. But there's a gentleman in the 1970s by the name of Howard Lotsof who took this for that purpose, a spiritual journey, and realized the next day that it cured his heroin addiction. In one administration, it cured his heroin addiction. This is a severe opiate addict himself, woke up the next day, never had withdrawal, and the next day, never had withdrawal. And it also, remarkably, cut completely out his cravings or desire to use opiates or any other drug for that matter. So this is very interesting to me. And I've done a lot of research on it, and again, I encourage you to do your own research. Never listen to anybody and take their word as gospel. That'll get you in a whole lot of trouble. That's how people get screwed up on methadone for the rest of their life, or on Suboxone. And research and find what's going to work for you in your life. You know your life better than anybody else. You know what will work for you. So the IBOGAINE, you take it, you ingest it, and within an hour it completely eradicates any withdrawal. And this will work for cocaine, for alcohol, for a bunch of different drugs, but works specifically well for opiate addiction. Within the first hour, it completely strips your receptors of opiates and restores your brain to a pre-addiction modality. Your brain will be restored and working the way it was before you were addicted to your drug within an hour of taking it. And then after that, for about the next 30 hours, you go on what is described as, by many people, as a spiritual journey. And it's common for people to basically have a slide projector open in their head and revisit traumas throughout your life and your childhood and confront the reasons why you want to escape reality. So most people wake up from this and have been physically freed from their addiction, and have also taken a 30-hour mental journey that has also broken the mental aspect of the addiction. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm leaving the country within the next few days to do it. It's not legal here in the United States for political reasons. They're not really interested in offering a cure that they can't sell to you on a repeated basis. So do your research. this is what I'm going to do, and I will offer a update video in the near future to tell you how it went for me. Good luck to all of you out there that are struggling with this. I feel for you. There's also a movie on Netflix that just came to mind here called Breaking the Habit or Facing the Habit, one of those two, and it documents a gentleman's experience taking ibogaine for a heroin addiction. That's a pretty good place to start as far as your research. But do your research. Again, don't be a sheep. Don't listen to me. Find out for yourself. But again, I will try to update you as I can. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for caring. Take care of yourself and each other.